When I turned 20, I started getting really severe acne. It appeared quite quickly and randomly. I actually have very little footage from that time because I hated my skin, so I didn't like taking photos or videos. I remember it hurt to wear makeup, and I also remember it hurt to have people stare at my skin all the time. I wasn't a teenager, so it wasn't normal for me to have acne. At least that's what people thought. I used to cry every day when I woke up and went to bed, and even sometimes during the day. I was miserable. I was a mess.
Trust me, that is not the life that you want to live. If you're struggling with acne, if you're having a really hard time with your acne, you're in the right place. I know all about it. So I'm going to share with you 8 lessons that severe acne taught me as a young adult. And I hope that these lessons will resonate with you and will help you with your acne. I sure wish that someone had shared them when I had acne, because I know that if I had heard these words from someone else, it would have definitely helped me with my acne. So yes, I hope you will enjoy this video. Also, please don't come at me for the lighting, because I live in Ireland and today is sunny and then not sunny, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I suppose the first lesson that I learned with having acne as a young adult is that you're not weird or not ugly for having acne. It's actually very common, very normal to have acne as an adult. There is this misconception that only teenagers have acne, which is completely wrong. It's very common for adults to have acne. It's very common for women to have acne, whether you're on contraception, you're getting pregnant, you're giving birth, after you've given birth. You go through all these changes, and so it is normal that your body is reacting, that your skin is reacting. There's also people who will always have acne, and it's just kind of how their body works. So there is nothing to be ashamed of. There is also a lot of different causes for acne, whether it's stress, anxiety, something hormonal, something just from your body, emotional shocks. There's a lot of different reasons for acne. Sometimes it's a combination of different reasons, and sometimes you just never find out what caused your acne or what is causing your acne, and that's okay too. Like, you don't have to know everything about it. You don't have to try to get rid of it because you feel weird or ugly, and you don't have to feel weird or ugly, and you don't have to feel alone. The second lesson I learned when having acne as a young adult is that grown-ups can be really rude and really mean and very indelicate and insensitive, and sometimes will tell you things that you're like, how are you saying these things to me? I'm like right there, and obviously I have acne. Why are you making all these comments? Grown-ups can be really ignorant. So a lot of it usually comes from ignorance. I've never really encountered any adults trying to be mean. They didn't have bad intentions, at least that I know of, but they were just ignorant and just insensitive, which learn to be sensitive to people and to respect them. That's very important. So there are different ways that you can react to this. You can ignore them and move on with your life. That's a good way to handle it. You can also try to educate them and try to teach them about acne. So that of course depends on who made the comment to you. But sometimes people just don't know anything about it because they never had to deal with acne, and they have all these weird misconceptions in their head that like
it's because you're not washing your face
or whatever. So sometimes teaching them about it make them more aware, and so they won't make that comment again to someone else. So that can be actually a very positive. Or you can just tell them to go fuck off, because you're a queen, you're a king, and you don't need their negativity. Another lesson I learned while having acne is that I actually expected kids to be more mean than adults, and actually kids are very kind, and at least in my experience, I was, at the time that I had acne, I was surrounded by a lot of kids from ages 2 to 10 or something like this, and they were never mean. There was never kids whispering about my acne or pointing it out or making fun of it. They were actually very respectful, but kids are curious, so they did ask a few questions. So I have a few comments on this. First of all, it is normal for kids to be curious, so don't get all like offended because kids are asking you about your acne. And in my experience, when they asked me about like why all of a sudden I had acne, because they saw my skin change very fast, kind of like overnight really. So they were kind of, you know, surprised and a bit curious about it. So that's very normal, you know, they're kids. But they were, in the way that they asked about my acne, you could tell that they didn't want to hurt me, or they weren't too sure if it was okay to talk about it. So I would say, like, if someone asks you about your acne, whether it's a kid or an adult, try to be open-minded, because I think it is good that it's being talked about and that people ask about it, because they, you know, don't know anything about it and they want to educate themselves and you're just curious. And I think especially with kids, it's very important to tell them that, you know, maybe my acne came from this or from that, maybe I'll never know. It's normal to have acne, you know, teenagers get it, adults get it. It's not something to be ashamed of, because then these kids are gonna grow up. They're gonna go, you know, they're gonna become teenagers, and they're gonna get to that age where it's tough and where people can be really mean, and you don't know if they're gonna have acne or if they're gonna be the kids bullying the kids with acne. So I think it's very important that it's being talked about, and that you answer their questions with an open mind, and just give real answers, and just be realistic, and just tell them that it's normal and that sometimes it goes away and sometimes it just remains, and it's okay. Lesson number 4, don't let acne slow you down professionally. Acne won't affect your professional life. I can assure you 100%, you can do whatever you want. Acne won't get in the way, or at least you don't have to let it get in the way. I'm really happy because recently I came across a TikTok from a model, a professional model, who was just showing her skin and saying, look, models have acne too, we're not perfect, we have real skin, and with all the makeup, the products, the routine and everything, and sometimes it's just hormonal, like, we get acne too, and it's okay, and we still get to be models. So it doesn't really matter that you have acne. I was so happy to see this, because it just shows that even if your job has to do with your physical appearance, you can still do it even if you have acne. So acne really shouldn't slow you down. And if you're trying to do you know, any kind of job, like a corporate job where your like physical appearance doesn't really matter, at least it's not your work to look pretty or to look perfect, whatever perfect is these days, don't worry about it. Like, acne never really affected my professional life, whether it was a university or what kind of degree I got, what kind of grades I got. I was also a singer, songwriter, and like performer, so I was on stage a lot at that time of my life. And when you're on stage, like, everyone can see your face, everyone can, you know, interact with you afterwards when you're taking photos. So I had a great time, to be honest. I didn't really care that I had acne. It never really, you know, got in the way of me being able to sing. So to give you just a bit of context, I was singing on stage. So I was either singing at clubs or pubs or bars or at festivals. So yeah, I sang in front of like 2,000 people, and like no one cared that I had acne or acne scars. Everyone just had a good time. So really, whatever you want to do, don't let your acne get in the way, because it doesn't have to. You don't have to let it get in the way. This next one is super important in my opinion. Don't let acne affect your friendships. When you have acne, you know, you can have a tendency to kind of isolate. Please don't. Just to give you a bit of background, so I had acne at university when, you know, not a whole lot of people had acne there where I was. A few people did, but really mine was probably the worst, to be honest. I don't want to compare, but like mine was like all over. It was huge, it was red, it was like, you know, it was really, really bad acne. And so you could tell, and also because it kind of came out overnight, it was a big change that everyone, you know, noticed, because they knew me without it, and then all of a sudden I had all this acne. So I was a bit afraid that people would react a bit weird about my acne, and that they would just decide that they didn't want to be my friend anymore, and that they didn't want to be, you know, assimilated with someone who has acne at that age. Like, I was afraid they would think that maybe I don't wash my skin, or, you know, all these weird cliches about acne. And I was dumb for being scared, actually. People were really nice. My friends remain my friends. We're not friends anymore, but I can never take that away from them. Like, they were there, they stuck with me, and they, you know, they really pushed for me to go out with them and to not just stay in because I was afraid of what people would say about my skin when I was going to bars or you know, just out like you go out at university. Not that I went out really that much, but you know, just for drinks or stuff. I was really self-conscious. I didn't really want to like show my skin without makeup, so I would have to put makeup, but then it was hurting my skin, like physically it hurt to wear makeup at that time. So it was always very uncomfortable for me, and I was always worried what people would think, because even though you cover your face in makeup, you can still see the bumps and your acne. So I just was afraid of what people would think, and that I was like not deserving of having fun, and that my friends would not want to be seen with me when going out. But it wasn't the case at all. My friends were very supportive. They stuck with me, and they, you know, really pushed for me to go out and be with them and have fun. It's very important when you have acne, because the acne can be really tough for your mental health. It can be really tough. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I cried all the time. So it was really helpful to have friends. So if you have a tendency to isolate and just stay by yourself, and if you know, you're afraid to go to people and start talking to them and make new friends, please don't be, because at that age, people, you know, they're a bit more mature. They're not like ignorant like full grown-up adults, and they're not ignorant like teenagers, even though like I find that nowadays I kind of get the feeling that teenagers are a lot more aware of these issues, and I think they're just like a lot smarter than grown-ups in a lot of cases, because they are trying to make things change, and they really advocate for these issues to not be issues anymore, and that you should accept yourself with acne. You know, you shouldn't worry about how your body looks and all these things. They're a lot more inclusive, I find, and they advocate a lot more for inclusivity, which I love that. So I think nowadays, you know, don't be afraid to go up to people. Like the new generation, I feel, is pretty inclusive and pretty aware of acne being normal. So please don't stay by yourself, and go find people that you can connect with and that you have fun with and you can hang out with. And yeah, and also people should just care that you have a great personality, that you're someone kind and nice. So if someone doesn't want to hang out with you because you have acne, then they're just idiots. So yeah. Another lesson is that acne does not have to affect your love relationships. How many messages, you might not know this, but before I started this channel in English, I had a channel in French, and I talked about acne a lot, and you know, dating with acne and all that stuff. And how many people messaged me saying that they were afraid to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend because they felt like pretty much they weren't worthy of anything, and that everyone would find them ugly, and that no one would want to date them and all. And all of these, you know, beliefs and fears, you can just leave them in a corner and never look at them again. People who are good people, they will care about you. They won't care about how your skin looks. And yes, you know, you can't deny that physical appearance is important, but acne doesn't make you ugly. That's the thing. Like, we always think that we're ugly because we have acne, but that's not true. There are plenty of people that I've come across who had acne and were gorgeous people. So please don't just, you know, don't just think that you're not deserving of a boyfriend or a girlfriend just because you have acne, because that's not true. And for the record, I met Eric when I didn't have really active acne anymore, but I did have scars. So you can tell, you can see my scars. I'm wearing a bit of makeup, but you can still see them here. And at the time they were a lot more red. They're not really red anymore, but at the time they were, and they were also deeper. And Eric didn't really like notice them. He didn't really care. I don't know, like I always told him like, did you notice my scars when we met? And he was like, no. I was like, come on, like that's not possible. They're right there, like you cannot miss them. And he was like, yeah, but I didn't really pay attention to them. Like I was, you know, he loved my great personality. But because I'm so great, you know. But really, like, that's what he said. I don't think he's lying, to be honest. He just said that he had a good time with me, and that I seemed like I was doing all these things, and that was very interesting, and that he liked talking to me. And so, like, yes, I had scars, but it's like I have a nose and no one cares, you know. So I don't think he really cared about it at all. Did he notice? Probably, because it's kind of hard to miss, but did he care? No. So just keep that in mind, that like it doesn't have to slow you down with your love, you know, relationships. Another thing is, when I was in high school, I'm just going on about my life here. When I was in high school, I had a friend, not a friend, someone I knew, who had a lot of acne, and she had a lot of acne for like a good few years, but she also had a really nice boyfriend that like anyone kind of wanted at that time. She was super nice. She, you know, was friends with everyone. Everyone really appreciated her. She was the kind of girl who's like actually kind and nice. Yes, she had a lot of acne, but like it never really affected her relationships. It didn't look like it was slowing her down from having good friends, a good boyfriend, like a good life, good grades and all. She was having the time of her life. So when I had acne, this actually was always in a little corner of my head, and I was always kind of thinking of her, and I was always reminding myself that if she was able to have the time of her life, have great friends and a great boyfriend, then that was something that was, you know, possible for me too, even though I had acne. So just remember that there are lots of people out there who have acne and still, you know, meet the love of their life and have great friends and have all that they could wish for. Before I go into this next lesson, please remember that what worked for me might not work for you, but there still might be something to take away from what I'm gonna say. So that lesson is that less is more. We're constantly pushed by TV and ads and brands to apply more things on our face, to you know, apply moisturizers twice a day, to use the cleanser twice a day, morning and night, to do it every day, and then to layer several moisturizers and stuff. And maybe that works for some people, but what worked really well for me was to kind of cut down on everything and not use anything anymore. So I stopped wearing moisturizer when I had acne, just because I felt like all these products were making my skin very dependent on them, and I noticed that the more moisturizer I would put on my skin, the more my skin would need it, and it would need more and more and more. And so I entered this like vicious cycle where like I just couldn't get out of it, and if I stopped wearing moisturizer, my skin would be like, I need it. I just took the plunge, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop using all these cleansers. It's hurting me more than it's helping me. I'm gonna stop using moisturizer, and it really helped my skin. So just try to not get tricked, I guess, by ads and brands and whatever they're advising to do, because you know what they want is to sell their product. You know, it's a business in the first place. I'm very aware that some brands are creating very good products that are respectful of your skin and your body, of your environment, but it is a business. And for a brand to be sustainable, to, you know, last very long, they have to sell their products. So it is at their advantage to say that you have to use the product twice a day, that you have to wear it like every day, or that you have to layer it with other products of their collection. So just try to not get tricked, and try to really figure out what works for your skin for real, not by listening to what these brands are saying. So for me, that was less is more. Definitely helped my skin a ton. And if you haven't tried it and you've tried kind of everything, I would suggest that you do if you are trying to get rid of your acne, but you don't have to try to get rid of your acne. That's not like something you have to do. So yeah. And finally, the last lesson. I hope you're still with me and that you have enjoyed this video. It's been helpful for you so far. The last lesson is that people have tons of opinions about wearing makeup when you have acne. Some people think that you wear makeup to just cover your face, for other people to feel more comfortable, so you're not really doing it for you. Some people think that you shouldn't wear makeup because that's what's causing your acne. So anyways, people have a lot of opinions on wearing makeup when you have acne. I'm gonna give you my opinion, and you can take it or leave it. I think that you should wear makeup if you want to wear it, if it's fun for you, if it's something that makes you happy. If it's something that you're doing because you don't think that people are gonna like you because of your acne, if they see your acne, if you do it because you're afraid to go outside of your house without wearing makeup, I think that's not good for you. I think that you should feel, and I know it's, again, easier said than done, I've been there, but I think you should be comfortable going outside of your house without makeup. I think that you should be happy being who you are, and it does not matter that you have acne. It does not affect how much you're worth. It does not affect how much love you're deserving of. It's just acne. That's all it is, and that's all it should be, and that's, you know, all the room you should give it. It's just acne. It should be just a little tiny thing in your life. It shouldn't be this big thing that, you know, you need to wear makeup to hide it, because otherwise you feel like you can't live your life like everyone else. So if makeup makes you happy, if it's fun to do, if you like feel like, you know, kind of cool wearing it and it's putting you in a good mood and you wouldn't care not wearing it, then I think it's good for you. I think it's probably okay, like it doesn't matter. But if it's something to hide yourself, please don't hide yourself. You're good enough. You don't need to hide. You don't need to cover up just to, you know, please other people. We freaking don't care what other people think of your skin, you know? It only matters that you're happy with yourself. That's all that matters. So please don't let others control you in a way and decide for you and decide what you should look like, because they shouldn't have that power. You should take that power back and freaking be yourself, because you're freaking amazing. Also, remember that perfection, perfect skin, all these things, they're just completely unrealistic. Whatever perfection is these days, because it changes all the time. It's impossible to keep up. You know, one way you wear makeup one way, it's not good enough. You wear makeup another way, it's not good enough. You cover your acne, yes, but we can still see your pimples, so what's the point? You don't cover your acne, oh, you should cover your acne. Like, you just can never win anyways. So it's super important that you're just happy with yourself and that you go live your life. Just go live the life that you deserve, because you're a freaking queen, you're a freaking king, okay? Alright, well, that was my video. I sure hope that these lessons will help you with dealing with your acne, and you know that if you're struggling with acne, you can always DM me on Instagram. I've answered so many messages at this point that I'm always happy to answer them, whether it's just because you're struggling and you need support, you need some kind of encouragement, just send me a DM. I'm always there to help. And yeah, so I guess I shall go and see you next week for a new video. Bye!